So in today's video, we're going to be going over how to create this design right here. It's another really simple technique. This one says thankful vibes. It is going to be good for the fall, for Thanksgiving. And then of course it can be worn year round because it doesn't directly say Thanksgiving anywhere on it. The technique that I did want to show you was sort of putting that, what I've seen lately has been more of like a leopard print, but you could use anything you want sort of over the letters so that half of that letter looks like it's sort of a leopard print design. And so really easy. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but I'm going to show you just sort of the really simple, easiest way that I've found. If this is something that you're interested in learning how to do, go ahead and stick around. So as always, we are going to go ahead and start with our blank backdrop. It is 4500 by 5400 pixels. I am going to be designing on black for this one. So I'm just going to go to the left upper corner, select background color, and go ahead and select black. This is going to be more of a text-based design. So I'm just going to go ahead and start by pulling up a text box. An easy way to do that would be to hit T on the keyboard and a text box should pop up right there. I got two of them, that's fine. In my first text box, I'm going to be going in all caps, and I'm just going to go ahead and put thankful. Oops. Perfect. And I'm going to make that a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. In the second box, I'm going to go ahead and put vibes. For this one, I want the V capitalized, but the rest is going to stay lowercase because I'm going to go ahead and use more of a script on this one. All right, and so that is what I'm starting with. So let's go ahead and pick some fonts. For the thankful one, I want something that's going to be kind of thick and bold for what I'm doing. Again, it doesn't really matter what you want to pick as long as you got some nice straight lines. So this works really well for this particular word because there's a lot of really straight lines that you'll see. So I think I did this earlier and we went ahead and we went with this one right here because it was pretty thick and bold. Again, real easy. And I'm going to go ahead and space that out so I've got it filling the whole top of the screen here. Vibes, I'm going to pick a different one. I'm going to go with something really light, something more of a script feel. You can go ahead and do a search up here if you want to do script or handwriting. You can pick anything you like. I did do this earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and go with this one right here. I got my vibes going on. And so now I got my thankful vibes. Pretty easy. So a big bold word followed by, you know, sort of a little kind of more thin word. So it's an easy style. I can keep the vibes smaller. I can make it a little bit bigger, however I want to do this. So now the point of this design was to show you guys how you can get some of those sort of leopard print half letters that I've seen a lot of. So if you've been looking at Amazon lately, you've probably seen some of the words that, you know, maybe half of a letter is sort of a leopard print. Now there's probably a whole bunch of different ways to go about doing this. One really easy way that I found using Canva is to simply use a frame with a leopard print and put it right over top of the letters. So I'll show you how I would do that. I'd come up to Elements and I'm just going to search my frames. Okay, and now the easiest way would be a nice long thin rectangle, and the easiest one for that would just be the letter I. So if you find just a really easy letter I, should be right here, and boom. So now I've got myself a nice rectangle frame. It's thin, it's long. I can go ahead and zoom into my image now so I can make it real easy for you guys to see. Oops, let's send that to the back so it's not in the way. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line this up. I'll start here. Right with the letter, I'm going to bring it down. And so it lines up top and bottom. Just like that. I'm going to send this one to the back now. Okay. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more, really make it big. Make sure everything's lined up good. So as we can see right here, I can shrink it down just a smidge. And I can use my arrow keys now to sort of bump it exactly where I want it, and perfect. So now it's kind of over half of that letter. Now if I want to fill it in, let's go ahead and say we want to do leopard print because there's been a lot of leopard print stuff going on. I can go ahead and do an easy search for leopard print. Okay, and there's a whole bunch I can use. I'm going to go ahead and select photos. And so you can pick, it depends how big or small you want it to be, if you want some tight ones or some bigger ones. Really easy. I think I used this big one here before. So if I was to just go like that, yeah, pretty easy. So pick whatever one you want, whatever color you want, whatever style you want. If you want it a little tighter, you can do it that way. And so again, however you want to pick, there's a whole bunch of different ones obviously that you can choose from. And again, it doesn't have to be leopard print. You can do this for any style you want. I've just noticed that that's been the more major trend lately. Whoops. And I lost it again. Okay, so now that I have my leopard print eye, I can just go ahead, click on that. I can hit Control D on my keyboard. It's going to duplicate it. So now that I have a duplicate, I can move it on over and then use my arrow key to line it up exactly how I want with the next letter that it looks good on. So right there. Again, I can Control D, duplicate it again, move it over to the next letter. Again, this is just a really quick, easy way to get this style. There's probably a whole bunch. Some of them would be a little bit more involved. Some of them would involve making frames for the entire word and, you know, stacking words and cutting them up. This is just such an easy way to do this though that I like it for this. Pretty simple. And I'm going to do one more here. Control D and come right over. Again, line it up as best I can. I can always use the arrow keys to kind of nudge it exactly where I want it. Now I'm going to go ahead and kind of scroll out there. You can see it says Thankful Vibes. Now I could do it with the T. I don't necessarily think that would look good because I want it to be right at the edge. You could try it with some of the other ones like the A, but at an angle, you're also going to have a bottom angle. So to do this technique, you really want to keep it simple and just go with the vertical lines. And it'll look fine because what we're going to do now is select a color for the text, and we're going to go ahead and match it to whatever color on here we think looks good. So I could do something like that. If I wanted it to be a little lighter, I could do kind of more like that. And so you can see how you could play with it a little bit. And then again, now I'm going to go ahead and go with Vibes. I can pick a nice light color for that too. Obviously I want it to kind of pop. So maybe I do something like this. Maybe I make it a little lighter because I want it to look a little bit different. Something like that. And there I have my Thankful Vibes. Center it. And that's pretty easy and pretty simple. Okay. Now you could add a little fluff. I could add some lines here or maybe a little leaf here if I wanted to for Thanksgiving, or if I just wanted to keep it really simple so it's not necessarily Thanksgiving themed, but it can be worn around that season. Thankful Vibes could be any time of year, so I could just go ahead and leave it like this. Honestly, I think I want to make the vibes a little bit darker. It's pretty close, but it almost feels like it's too white. As I'm looking at it as a whole, I want it to kind of look like it pops a little bit more. I don't know. You could spend a lot of time playing with the colors, trying to get them exactly how you want them. That looks a little bit better for me. And then I'm going to come up here. I'll just title it Thankful Vibes. And I have noticed that anything in vibes has been pretty popular lately. And the good news is if you're doing a trademark search, while Thankful by itself may be trademarked, Thankful Vibes likely is not, but you're going to want to go ahead and check that with whatever you use. But odds are if there's a particular word you want and you add vibes to the end of it, it may not be trademarked yet. So that's a good way to kind of get around some of that with some of the more popular words. So now that I have Thankful Vibes here, I could download it like this, keep it pretty simple, or I could add just a little bit more pop and put kind of an outline or a shadow behind this. So let's say I wanted to do a text effects here, and I can go up to effects. I can go ahead and use the shadow text effect. And here I can go ahead and maybe pick a darker color, something a little darker. I do still want it to stand out on the shirt, but maybe something that's going to stand out and yet still give me a little bit. There it is. I can give it as much of a pop as I want. And so that's one way that we can go about doing this. Easy way to pick colors, by the way, would also be to use the eyedrop feature and try to see if you can match some of the colors within the print that you used. So some of them are going to have a little bit more colors to them. Some of them are a little bit more orange. Some of them are a little bit more flat. This one's a little bit more flat, not as colorful. But again, depending on what you're using, and again, it doesn't have to be animal print. You can match colors that way too pretty easily. So now I've got my Thankful Vibes with a little bit of a shadow there. Pretty simple. Again, if I wanted to add a little flair, I could add a line. I could just put L on my keyboard and that's going to pull up a line. Oops. If I click down here and I hit L, I can pull up a line this way. I can make that line as kind of thick as I want if I want it to kind of look like it's the same thickness as the vibes. I could pull it here. I could shrink it down. So let's say I wanted it to look something like that. I could do that. I could copy it. I can Control D now. I can pull it over to the other side. Repeat the process, and there we go. So now Thankful Vibes that way. It needs to be in a little bit more, but boom. And now if I wanted to add some color here, I can make that one a little bit orange or whatever color I'd like to make it. So let's say I went ahead and went with my eyedropper and I tried to match my outline color, which is that one right there. And there's another Thankful Vibes. So I could do something like that. That's pretty clean, simple, simple thing. And so we're going to go ahead, hit download. I will download this as a PNG with a transparent background. And there is our nice, simple Thankful Vibes design. So again, I hope you can use this technique. Another really simple one and great for Thanksgiving. Also great for any time of the year. Okay, so take care. That's it for today's video. If you found this useful and would like to see more videos with helpful tips and tricks, be sure to hit like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of the future videos. As always, keep growing and stay creative, and we'll see you next time.